وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Jazakumullah khairan, everyone, for coming. Inshallah, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce to you Sheikh Dr. Sheikh Samir an-Nass, Hafidhahullah Ta'ala. Sheikh Samir does not need an introduction. He's not new to this community. Alhamdulillah, he has been gracing us with his presence for a number of years now, but this is the first time that he is here in this masjid. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him for taking the time out to come and visit us and share with us his knowledge. But just in case some of you may not be familiar with Sheikh Samir, Sheikh Samir is one of the most well-known and most qualified scholars from Syria. He was born in Dimashq, Syria, and that's where he studied at the College of Medicine at the University of Damascus, and then he went on to study in the United States, where he qualified in internal medicine. So he is also a medical doctor. But in addition to that, the Sheikh has studied under some of the great ulama of Sham and the Arabian Peninsula. He has traditional licenses and ijazat in the various Islamic sciences, including the 10 qira'at of the Qur'an, as well as in fiqh, in aqidah, and also in hadith. Sheikh Samir presently is a teacher at Ma'had al-Fath al-Islami in Dimashq, where he teaches Hanafi fiqh, the famous manual Al-Hidayah, in the department of Sharia. And he is also a lecturer on the 10 recitations of the Qur'an in the MA program. The Sheikh teaches Tajweed after Fajr daily in the masjid of Sheikh Muhyiddin ibn Arabi, which is a post that was given to him by his Sheikh and also his father-in-law, who is one of the most illustrious Qurra of Sham, Sheikh Muhammad Sukkar, rahimahullah ta'ala. Sheikh Samir has been teaching at various Islamic studies intensive courses in England as well as in North America since 2000. I personally had the tremendous honor to read to him portions of the Qur'an in Jami' Sheikh Muhyiddin, and students from all over the world would flock to attend his lessons, and sometimes they would have to wait for hours to read to him just for 5 minutes, and they would gladly do that because they knew the stature of the one that they were going to read to. In addition to that, of course, Sheikh Samir also spends a lot of time throughout the day teaching fiqh, teaching hadith, teaching the various sciences in the masajid, in the institutes, and even in his own clinic, which is supposed to be a medical clinic, but oftentimes you go there and you find that students are reading mutun and texts to Sheikh Samir. Sometimes we would go, when we would have even the smallest of illness, we would go there as an excuse to see him. So he would treat us physically as well as spiritually, alhamdulillah. So it's a tremendous honor and pleasure for us to have him here tonight. Inshallah, he will speak to us. As you know, we will go until Maghrib. Inshallah, Maghrib is around 7:35 or so, I believe. At that time we'll call Adhan for Maghrib, and we'll take a break, and then after Salat al-Maghrib we will continue until Salat al-Isha, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khairan. Tafaddal mashkura Sidi.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Alhamdulillahi hamdan yuwafi ni'amahu wa yukafi'u mazidah. يا ربنا لك الحمد كما ينبغي لجلال وجهك وعظيم سلطانك. سبحانك لا نحصي ثناء عليك أنت كما أثنيت على نفسك. نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيد الأولين والآخرين وعلى السابقين وقائد الغر المحجلين وسيد ولد آدم أجمعين وشفيع المذنبين سيدنا ومولانا وحبيبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد اللهم صل وسلم وبارك عليه وعلى آله الغر الميامين وأصحابه نجوم الدين ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين وعنا معهم برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وفقهنا إذا علمتنا. أما بعد, brothers and sisters, inshallah we speak about Imam al-Nawawi. I'm going to look to the historical knowledge about him, radiyallahu ta'ala wa rahimahullah ta'ala, then to highlight certain of his specialties. For me, it's not going perhaps to take that long time, till Isha, So if I stopped before, if you have any question or whatever, it may take me till Maghrib, a little bit after Maghrib. Usually I'm not a good speaker, to speak for 1 hour or 2 hours or something of that regard. The historical look to Imam al-Nawawi, he was born in the year 631 in a region in Syria, south of Syria, called Hawran, in a village called Nawa, and that's where he is well known as Al-Imam al-Nawawi. He passed away on year 676, which is that he lived only 45 years, according to lunar calendar, perhaps a little bit less in our ordinary way of speaking about age nowadays. But it tells you how great was his outcome, that these books that he left for us. Okay, this one way of estimating anyone, by the book or the inheritance that he left behind. Politically, he was in the time of what we call Mamalik. They used to govern Egypt and Syria, and at that time, in his time, the Abbasi Khilafah was destroyed in Baghdad by the Mughal, and Syria and Egypt, they were the most serious or dangerous enemy to the Mughal, and that's why they have this threat, from the Mughal. And the Mamalik, they used to be tough fighters, and they had that victory which happened during the life of Imam Nawawi by al-Zahir Beaver's life. That's one of the rulers of the Mamalik, or the second, third one, and he was the one who gave that victory. And at that time, you look at the Mughal, they just doing everything, in front of them, and to have such a victory against them, it was quite impressive, and quite important in that time, which happened by the Zahir Bibars and his soldiers, and this was during the life of Imam al-Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. So this is the political position in his time. Socially, he was from a very poor family, as you may expect, in these villages, far from Syria, and he used to be supported, by his father. Okay, Imam Nawawi, we don't know that he had any special profession. He traveled to Damascus when he was 19 years old to seek knowledge, and he may have 12 dars per day to receive from his shuyukh. He was he was in very difficult way, or in very open way, try to capture or try to collect the maximum number of shuyukh, 12 dars per day, and as you may know, in these old days, if you are not well prepared, and you not prepare that dars very well, it's not going to be accepted by that sheikh. They used to be tougher than nowadays, and if you are not that well prepared, and to prepare 12 dars per day, it's not easy task, to be done. And this is in most of the Islamic sciences, including fiqh, aqidah, Qur'an, hadith, Arabic language, and perhaps some others, some other specialty. And that's why you look at Imam Nawawi as have multiple specialties. Even though I'm going to speak shortly only about his specialty in al-Fiqh al-Shafi'i, and for sure he has very significant input, and influence in Fiqh al-Shafi'i, but he is not as we may expect. Many of these famous scholars that we speak about, they are going to be focused at their specialty, and in the other matters, I don't say that they are poor, but we don't know anything about it. Whereas here in Imam Nawawi, we feel his involvement and his specialty in other specialty, in other fields, of sciences, namely like Hadith al-Nabawi Sharif and other aspects, and that's why I heard from Sheikh al-Yusuf al-Abidin, who was Hanafi. He said Imam Nawawi is not the Imam of Shafi'iyya only, he is our Imam. Just consider him as Imam of all Muslims, okay? And this is to find it in among the Muslim scholars is not that usual, okay? Perhaps this was the description of most of the companions of Allah. But when you go a little bit further, okay, you are going to find the difference, you are going to find the specialty and the name. And this is one of the great matters, about Imam Nawawi. And this is, if you want to speak about his personality, as mentioned by a famous scholar, to have combination between fiqh and hadith, it's too rare, okay? And here you find it in the high and specialized way in Imam Nawawi. When you add on them, in the top of them, tasawwuf or something of that regard, is going to be much more rare than the red sulfur. And here Imam Nawawi, even though we don't know about, to best of my knowledge, he has a book called Bustan al-Arifin, speaking about those high Sufi people, and from there you feel that he has the involvement. Besides that, in his personality, you are going to find many of his descriptions, they go by what the Sufi they are described by. But in his day-to-day practice, we don't look at him as having the significant involvement in that regard. But most probably out of his personality and being fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and zahid, abstinence of this life, and have a certain quality in this regard, all those matters tells us that even that we don't know about this third component that was spoken about, but we feel that he had, at least if he is not specialized in that matter, but he has a significant portion of it, and this is what is important about it, when you practice in your life, okay? Tasawwuf is a practice, it's not a knowledge to start with. And the one who practices it, even if he doesn't have any book, I'm again going to say that Imam Nawawi has Bustan al-Arifin, which speak about those famous people in Tasawwuf. But even if you don't have any book, that the major point here to be a significant practitioner of that field. And apparently Imam Nawawi, when we speak about his life, he was one of these significant practitioners, in that regard. So he went to Damascus, traveled to Damascus when he was 19 years old, and as I said, he used to prepare for 19 of his durusi. They mention his shuyukh. Among them you have Abu Shama. Abu Shama is very famous sheikh, again, he has multiple specialties. He is famous in qira'at, he is famous in hadith, he is famous in fiqh, and he's famous in tarikh. We estimate him according to what's left to us, and we are not speaking about the reality of that particular person. And he has some other shuyukh. And he stayed in Damascus, attracted many of the students to come and seek knowledge from him, because anyone of you who experienced to try to seek knowledge from shuyukh is going to find the difference between the sheikh who is specialized in different aspects of knowledge and the sheikh who is specialized in one field in knowledge, He's going to feel the difference, because the one who is specialized in different aspects of knowledge is going to match fiqh with hadith, with seerah, with tafsir, and you name it, and you are going to feel relaxed and comfortable even if you hear a piece of information from here or there, and his dars is going to be rich of all aspects of these matters. And that's why the book Al-Majmu' of Imam al-Nawawi is really a hint about what I'm trying to say. If you are interested in hadith, you are going to find whatever you want in that particular book. If you are interested in tarjama to get knowledge about certain people, you are going to find it, and you name it. Okay? So he stayed in Damascus most of his life till few months before of his death. He had some political problem with the governor, and he said, I'm going back to my village. And many of his students who became, had their role, at that time, they spoke with the government, to just let him, and the government accepted to let him, but the Imam said, no, I'm not going to return back till that person died. This was his decision. He returned back to Nawa, stayed with his parents, for a few months, and he passed away after that and was buried in Nawa. This is a quick idea or quick look to the life of Imam al-Nawawi. He did not get married. Okay. One time he was asked why you didn't get married. This is a sunnah tradition of the Prophet. He said, you said it is sunnah. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to practice many prohibited matters. And in this case, to avoid those prohibited matters, is better than practicing the tradition. Anyone who is single, don't take this word, because he was Shafa'ee. Shafa'ee Mazhab, the one who doesn't feel that he needs this really, is to stay as a single is better, which is opposite to other Mazhabs. And here, he stuck to his Mazhab. Apparently, he was in no need, They don't have this problem that we have nowadays of the opening in the sexual matters, all over the place. Wherever you go, wherever you turn your head, you are going to find a lot of these matters, He used to be just confined to his durus, and his worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and his hal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he found himself that many of those goodies which were given to him, from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will be done away if he wants to take care of a wife, and children. So he did not get married in all of his life. As I said before, again, he doesn't have a profession. He used to be supported by his family. Everything sent to him from that poor village. He would not eat anything from Damascus, Damascus at that time, it was very nice and beautiful city. You have a lot of fruits, you have a lot of nice food, at that time, he was asked, why you don't eat from the fruits in Damascus? He said, because most of the lands of Damascus, most of the land is waqaf. And I don't know, many of those, they were stolen, or taken away. So out of his wara, I'm going to speak about his wara. He never tried, the fruits, in Damascus at all, or to eat. He will eat only from those dried fig that is sent to him, from his mother, and the other, from his town or village, he will keep eating of these matters, don't look to other nice food that were available, in Damascus at that particular time. Okay, after this quick look, of Imam al-Nawawi, I would like to go to his specialty. Okay, I'm going to raise up few points which all of us, we should be familiar with when we look at a person like Imam. For sure, according to the Shafa'ee, the most important point, his position in Shafa'ee. Okay, you have in Shafa'ee, as other mazhabs, those who come late, the scholars who come late, you have some of them, they may be of significant number or much less number according to the madhahib, you know. But in Shafi'i, like in Hanbal, you have two persons that they are the most important ones. And here in Shafi'i madhab, they call them al-Shaykhan. Al-Shaykhan in Shafi'i madhab, they are al-Rafi'i wal-Nawawi. Al-Rafi'i wal-Nawawi, they are the two scholars, you know, to give the decision which statement, which riwayah narration, which fatwa is stronger in that regard. And they are called in Arabic ulama al-tarjih, to give some superiority to certain idea or certain fatwa over the other. And among the Shafi'i, the two most important persons, they were Imam al-Rafi' and Imam al-Nawawi. And that's why Imam al-Nawawi, most of his books, he has 4 or 5 books, you know, in fiqh. You know, most of them, they are either summary or to give interpretation and make it more detailed, you know, of Imam al-Rafi'. Okay? And most Shafi'i, they say they give the preference of Imam al-Nawawi over al-Rafi'. Okay? Usually Imam al-Nawawi has the priority over Imam al-Rafi'. Most of the case, whenever there is difference between Imam Rafi' and Imam Nawawi, they are with Imam al-Nawawi, not with Imam Rafi'. The exception, you may have some exception. One of the exception, most of the latest Shafi'i, they go with the opinion of Imam Rafi'. This against Imam Nawawi and Imam al-Haramain before him. These are the two famous, and you have some other, you know, Shafi'i, they said al-qira'atu shadda, when you have an odd recitation or the one which is not proved to be Qur'an from the Prophet ﷺ, according to Imam al-Haramain and Imam Nawawi, is not considered as an evidence. Okay, they don't rely on it to prove any mas'ala and fiqh. Okay, whereas according to Imam al-Rafi'i, at least it's going to be considered like authentic hadith, and it's going to be granted, you know, and support the evidence for this, you know. And the latest Shafi'i, most of them, they go by the opinion of Imam Rafi'. I gave this as an example, you know, but in most cases you are going to find most of these latest Shafi'i, they go by the opinion of Imam al-Nawawi, not Imam al-Rafi'i. The most famous latest scholars, you know, they are al-Ramli, wa Ibn Hajar, wa Khatib al-Shirvini. How did the Shafi'i get their knowledge? They get their knowledge from their interpretation, these 3 scholars, to a book of Imam al-Nawawi, which is Al-Minhaj. Al-Minhaj, written by Imam al-Nawawi, and has been interpreted by massive number, you know, of Shafi'i. You have perhaps more than 10 persons, you know, 10 scholars that they interpreted that book, you know. But the mainstay is going to be in Tuhfat al-Muhtaj, written by Ibn Hajar, Nihayat al-Muhtaj, written by al-Ramli, wa Mughni al-Muhtaj, written by Khatib al-Shirvini. And these are the latest one to give the priority to the opinion of Imam Nawawi or Imam al-Rafi', and they usually go by Imam al-Nawawi. All these matters, they are mentioned in Fiqh Shafi'i books. Now I'm going to speak about my opinion. This is my input. I may be right or wrong. Okay. These matters, you take it for guaranteed, the one I have said, because these are mentioned in the books of Fiqh Shafi'i. Now I'm going to give my input. I may be right or wrong about it. I spoke, if any of you in ICC, I think 2 years ago or so, about the history of Fiqh and how the look used to be for Imam Abu Hanifa and Imam Malik, and how Imam Shafi'i changed the look, you know, and he has different look, and he goes with what we call them Fuqaha al-Hadith. Okay, and I mentioned there about the interaction between these schools, you know. So what I'm trying to say here, at least in my view, most of the Shafi'i before Nawawi, they were significantly affected by the way of Hanafi. That's why the book written before Imam Nawawi, most of them in their way of analysis, you know, and giving the evidence, they are affected by al-Fiqh al-Hanafi. Namely, first of them, who was too famous, Ibn Surayj, this is passed away in 306 something, I'm not quite sure. And the rest, Imam al-Haramain, al-Ghazali, Qadi Hussein, Shirazi, and most of them in their way of writing and analyzing, they were affected by the Hanafi way. The first one to return to the original Shafi'i way of analysis, in my view, I may be wrong, was Imam. Al-Imam al-Nawawi returned the Mazhab al-Shafi'i to its original essentials, of the way of adopting the Hadith al-Nabawi Sharif and try to build everything around it. As we said, in that lecture of the other Mazhab or the other schools, they may have different look about this issue, but here, and many of those early Shafi'i, they used to be in the same way. The first one to return back in the whole Mazhab Shafi'i to its original essential put by Imam Shafi'i, in my opinion at least, I don't have a clear proof about it, is Imam al-Nawawi, and this is, you may consider it, and this is by it. What do you feel about it? If this is the case, if I am right, that's me, Imam al-Nawawi is not a dumb person, To be honest with you, many of those students, whatever you dictate on them, they are going to take and go. Even I faced this problem with a person. I was trying to explain to him, about one word in Qur'an, how to recite it according to Warsh, and the different possibilities. He said, please don't tell me. Tell me what do you want, and I'm going to recite it. So here, why I'm bringing this story? When you have Imam al-Nawawi change the stream, the whole stream of the Shafi'i book, which came to him, the Shafi'i attitude, it cannot come from an ordinary man. He should be quite strong and well-educated, to have this, what we call it, detour, or some change, in the stream of Imam of the Shafi'i Mazhab, to make it go back to its original way. And when you look at this point, that most of those scholars who came after Imam Nawawi, they accept his way, they accept his change. That means he was really very strong and very good, in presenting in this case. And this is. I don't think this is important only for Shafi'i. It's important to anyone, to look at Imam Nawawi as very intelligent, very knowledgeable, or what we call in Arabic, a person has diraya. And he is not interested here just in listening, and apply to his life. He's going to analyze, he's going to make everything, according to the usul, the essentials of fiqh Shafi'i. Okay. Besides this, Imam Shafi'i has this position, in fiqh Shafi'i, which is one of the greatest one. The Shafi'iyya, they say, whenever he chooses something, which is not in the madhab, this is not going to be taken. Even though you got this point, and Imam Nawawi sometimes he may have a choice that it's outside the whole madhab. Okay, I give you example of it, مسح على الخفين, according to the four mazhabs, the timing starts when you have the hadath. Imam Nawawi, his opinion, the time starts when you start one. Okay, this is, they call it in Shafi'i mazhab ikhtiyar. This is the choice of Imam Nawawi. This is against the narration from Imam Shafi'i. So as we said, in the fiqh Shafi'i, he has significant position, for his opinion in giving the superiority or the strength for one statement of Imam Shafi'i or riwayah over the other, but the ikhtiyarat, they are not accepted, according to Shafi'i people, because they thought that this is his own choice, that doesn't reflect the Shafi'i. And this is, again, is very, very important to know the personality of Imam Shafi'i, because such a person who accepted to have his opinion should be, very knowledgeable person. Nowadays, I'm sorry to tell you, anyone will give his opinion and he's going to sit in a higher chair than this, and speak openly, this is my opinion, and he will have followers. Whereas in these old days, it was impossible to have it except for them. I'll give you an example of my life, not myself, one of my relatives, he went to one aqad nikah or wedding or distribute these books, this is the most important fiqh book ever. Like this, okay? And you have those large books, all those you should just throw them away, and this is the most important. And that relative told me, look at it. And look at this book. Now I don't remember the numbers right, but you have about 40 mas'ala against ijma', against color consensus. You have roughly 60 mas'ala against what the four mazhab they speak. You have roughly 90 mas'ala against what is the most strong opinion in the four mazhabs. And such a small book, to have more than 150 mas'ala against all of those scholars, for me it's a problem. What I'm trying to say, why did I say so? You have Imam al-Nawawi accepted. Not as the other, they say, we just try to shut up their mouths, and say, you are Shafi'i and you cannot speak. No, Imam al-Nawawi did speak, in this mas'ala I go by this one. Okay? And here, the room was left for him to speak the way he wants to speak freely, about those issues. Even though the Shafi'i after him, they are not going to take it, but this is just to tell us how smart, how intelligent that person, and how the scholars they used to deal with this mas'ala. They are not police, to have a gun, against anyone or whatever. No, they will accept the other opinion. They try to discuss, they try. And I give similarity of Imam al-Nawawi to a person, Hanafi Mazhab, who was in al-Humam. Again, in Hanafi Mazhab, everyone who came later after al-Humam, in my study, in most of their opinion, they go by the opinion of al-Humam, which sometimes it's against the Zahir al-Riwayah. Again, al-Humam has some choices, and they say we are not going to take these choices. And this is similar to one in Hanbali Mazhab, who Ibn Taymiyyah. Ibn Taymiyyah in Hanbali Mazhab, he is giving the preference, whenever he tries to deal with the riwayat of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. But when he has it as his choice, here I should say Ibn Taymiyyah has many choices, which is outside the Hanbali Mazhab, much more than Nawawi and okay? Again, I'm not going to waste my time speaking about those types of mas'ala, but here you should know that Imam al-Nawawi is the strongest one in Shafi'i Mazhab in his opinion, but he has some choices, and these choices, they are not granted or taken, for guarantee according or among the Shafi'i. Okay, this is the point I want to highlight. I think it's time for Maghrib now. 4 minutes, okay. So this is about the fiqh, and this is, as I said, I look at it, one of the specialties of Imam Nawawi. Many of these people, they have this specialty. What they do, they try to mix all the texts, because they will tell you we are too smart, we are too intelligent. This is my understanding from these 10 or 50 books that I read, okay? I'm going to give you summary about it. This is again completely against what Imam Nawawi do. And Imam Nawawi is one of the famous person, most famous, that he is going to narrate for you the text exactly taken from that particular book or from that particular scholar. And when he finishes, he will say, Indah. He puts a sign that this is the end of it. Then he will say, I said, okay? And he will give you completely competition between his narration of those matters, and this is one of the skills of Imam al-Nawawi. And don't think that this is easy to be done. This is too difficult to be done, especially when we want to gather many, collect many of these opinions and come to best opinion, it becomes too difficult. Even many of those famous scholars, not intentionally, they mix them up, and then they will give you the outcome. Whereas here Imam Nawawi is too precise about it. It's going to mention each one and put a stop. In Arabic language, we will alif ha means intaha, and then he will say, I say. Okay. By this, he tells you about what he narrated from the other scholars and what his opinion. To have this combination of being of that high degree of intelligence, being the one who is going to decide which opinion is much stronger, and to have some choices, and in the meanwhile, he's just too strict, about whatever he conveyed or transmit from the others, by putting it completely. I think to have these two combinations together, together is difficult, not easy. I give you example about it. We have in Fiqh al-Hanafi Hashir Imam. Ibn Abdi is going to blend all of these chapters, and give you the outcome. Then he passed away before finishing this Hashir. They asked the Sultan, Uthman al-Sultan, he asked his son, to complete his father, work. You find the difference. Here, you are going to find the comment, in this son, much longer. Why? Because he tried to get this from this book and the other from that, and it's going to take long pages, before coming to the outcome. You see that to have it in a smart way, to collect these two ways, together, it's not easy. Don't think it's easy, it's too difficult, to have it. And Imam al-Nawawi was really one of those smart people, who has the ability to get over that very well. Okay? This is about one of his specialty, and this is perhaps limited to Shafi'i people, but for the others, will give you an idea about how smart and how intelligent was Imam al-Nawawi. And to see to what way the Shafi'i they rely on Imam al-Nawawi. I give this example. I know about Qira'at al-Ashr or whatever. See, al-Qira'at, we have either Qira'at al-Sab'a, 7 or 10. Okay? So, in 3 madhabs, Hanbali, Hanafi, Maliki, they consider the 10 as they are, all of them, equal to each other. In Shafi'i madhab, you have Ibn al-Jazari, is a famous, scholar, in Qira'at. And he believed the same idea of these 3 madhabs, And he tried to get fatwa from many knowledgeable and scholar Shafi'i in his time, And even he brought some of those early Shafi'i who spoke about the 10 Qira'at. But because Imam Nawawi said only 7, you see the latest Shafi'i, all of them, they go by the opinion of Imam Nawawi. They don't go by the opinion of all of these Shafi'i they said the 10. Okay? And this, I give it just an example about something which quite obvious. In Ibn Jaz, this is his specialty, yet the Shafi'iyya, they go by the opinion of Imam Nawawi, they don't go by the opinion of Ibn Jaz or what he had collected. Even he wrote a book about it. Ibn Jaz had a book to prove that the 3 Qira'at, they are equal to the 7. Even back in Damascus, some of our shuyukh who used to be Shafi'i, he told me that myself and the other, mentioned another famous reciter of Qur'an, we don't recite these 3 Qira'at in the farad, in the obligation. We may recite them in nafi, we don't recite them in obligation. This is just to give you an idea. I think we'll stop here now for Mother prayer, and we will come back. Sorry, because you gave me long time, I should add some of those matters, just to fill the time. Whereas I don't like this way of speaking. I would like to be precise and just go one by one and finish it. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى اله وصحبه اجمعين. I was talking major point that I should highlight. The first one, his position in Shafa'ee madhab. I went in detail in it. The second point, which is too important, they said they counted his book, his outcome, according to his life, and roughly has progressive every day. And that means fair amount, of written document, every day. And this is one of the specialties of Imam Nawawi. He has plenty of books, okay. But what I would like to highlight, we have some scholars, they have plenty of books, like Imam Al-Jawzi, Imam Suyuti, and many others, But what is special about Imam Nawawi, which is not available from the others, that he is going to serve his book at the top, And that's why it's going to be really refined and well served, okay? You cannot add anything, you cannot say this is wrong or whatever. Most of the authors, especially in certain eras, of the Muslim history, they are going to be from the collective one, to collect everything. I give you example about it. Al-Qur'an is a collective book, okay? That's why if someone comes, this is mentioned in Al-Qur'an that the Qur'an was so and so. I'm here to speak about Qur'an from a relation which is not that well served. You see, some type of the Muslim writing, if the author needs to mention something, is going to be taken as a negative point against him. Okay, and this is you shouldn't take it for granted. Not everything mentioned there, in these books, you take it for granted. Whereas I'm telling you, anything mentioned in Nawawi book, take it for granted. Because these are well served. And this is the other point, or the other most important specialty that I want to highlight. Okay, here they are well served. Okay, they are all refined, And this is again, don't imagine that this is an easy task to be done. It needs a lot of effort. And when you know that particular Imam, he was specialized in more than one specialty, which make it much more tougher, to have it in hadith, to have it in fiqh, to have it in the names of the narration, or the names in Arabic culture, or this or that. All those issues, that he had book written, and then it makes it much more difficult, to be precise and to refine everything. And this is one of the main specialty of the books of Imam Nawawi. You hardly find any place that you may say this is wrong or this is it. And that's why there's a poet said, I like غير كتب النووي لا تعتمد وتنزه في رياض الصالحين. Don't trust any books except books of Nawawi, and have a good picnic, in Riyadh, in the farms, on the recreation areas, of what Riyadh al-Salihin, okay? Because this is one of his books. And this is really, here, even that poet, I don't look at him as someone who exaggerates, because when you have this experience with the books of Imam Nawawi, you are going to find it really precise. This is the second point I would like to highlight. The third point, part of it is a gift from Allah, and part of it is by you. And this is what I'm trying to speak about, the spiritual state of the man. Okay? And here, to have scholars, knowledgeable or whatever, you have the computer nowadays, Computer doesn't have any spiritual stage, or anything of that regard. Imam Nawawi has a combination of it. I'm going to highlight one of these main matters that they were practiced by him, and those who were given to him from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for sure, everything is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them. But here, you have, in some of those practices, your input, you are going to practice. And that's what has been summarized when you say, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. You should look at these two components. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ, this is your duty, okay? You go and make wudu, you go and pray, you go and do this and that, this is your duty. And this is not really limited only to worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It may be applicable to any aspect of your life, because even when you eat and drink and sleep, it may be ibadah when you have the good intention about it. And such a person like Imam Nawawi, this is my expectation going to be out about it. Then you have Imam Nasta'in. This is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? Here we should be familiar with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us. And what is most important, when you find a person that he has this specialty and you don't find it in yourself, even though you may be older than him, you may be much knowledgeable than him, you may be much more smart than him, whatever you know of any estimation you give to yourself, you should look, that person is much better than you. Let's say he is much more generous than you. Okay? Listen, I'm bad. Okay? I should look at that person, try to learn from him, okay? And sometimes I'll be jealous of him, okay? And here, again, you have something that you should work hard to achieve, and you may achieve, you may not achieve, and you have something that it's a gift from Allah. Let's speak about these two components of Imam Nawawi. For sure, the time doesn't permit, and I don't know that much. To be honest, I don't know that much. Imam Nawawi is such a personality who tries to hide those matters, So it's too difficult to anyone to know, and for me as one who came after hundreds and hundreds of years, it's going to be much more difficult, to speak about these matters. But what I'm going to highlight is abstinence, okay, zuhd, we call it in Arabic zuhd, okay, because such a person in that environment, he will be given the highest rank, and given the most amount of money. He will not have any of those matters. He rely on his parents, to send his food and clothes, from Noah, okay? He doesn't take anything from Damascus, okay? That's the city, the large city at that time, and this tells you how he was zahid. And I'm going to speak about that story and how he returned back to his village, at the end of his life. And this is again tells you about his view. This is very important. Okay? And this was one of the description of the faqih according to Imam al-Hasan al-Basri. Hasan al-Basri, when he was asked about the faqih, who is the faqih, he joined in his definition about faqih, zuhd fil dunya wa rabla fil akhirah. The one who is absent of this dunya and the one who has his full desire of the hereafter. And this is, I look at Imam Nawawi as has those applied to his life. Okay. The second component, which is again very important one, al-wara', okay, to whenever he has any doubt or suspicion, he's going to put it down, and this is the meaning of wara', okay, and this is, you may have an idea about it, how Imam Nawawi, he did not eat from the fruits, all fruits, in Damascus, okay, why? Because he felt himself, no need. That's why he did not get married, because all of those matters, you may look at them as wara'. When you speak about fiqh in particular, and this is not only for fiqh, this is for any speaker, we sit here and speak and try to pretend that we are knowledgeable, we should have wara'. We should be, because I'm sorry to tell you, most of the audience, they don't go and check back what we have said, okay? But we should, since they gave their confidence and trust to us, we should be observing ourselves. We should supervise ourselves, okay? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أَلَمْ يَعْلَمْ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ يَعْلَمُ. So this is very important for any religious speaker. But it's the most important in whom the one who is focused. And I'm sorry to be told, wherever you go, you have people, they don't have money. They study fiqh. Okay. So here, when you look at those factors in Imam Nawawi that he has wara', for sure I'm going to feel relaxed. I'm going to feel secure, in my heart when I listen to his fatwa. I give you example about it. There's a lot of controversy about Sayyidina al-Fadl. Is he still alive or not? Okay? For sure, I would like the Sufi opinion in that regard, and many of our sure they say he is alive. But here, when I hear the Imam Nawawi say he is alive, for me it gives me something different. Okay? To have our people say that he is alive is thing, and when you have this precise, well, the one who study, we call it now, kill it in study, okay? Kill it studying it, okay? That Imam al-Nawawi, and he has wara. To say this statement, for me, it means a lot. Because I have an experience with Imam al-Nawawi. To have him said so, for me, it means a lot. Even though I get speak and I get barakah from the other shuyukh who said so or whatever. And here, you should have, here, when Imam Nawawi said so, for me, it means a lot of difference. Why? Because I know I experienced the wara of Imam Nawawi. Okay? There is something which is gifted from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is mentioned in his life, Imam Nawawi. When he was 7 years old, during Ramadan, he woke up one night, and they don't have power and electricity at that time, okay? And he had the whole house, back in locked it. And he asked his father, "Who did put these lights, on?" There's no lights, it's complete darkness, okay? And they did like this. See, this is gift from Allah, given to him when he was 7 years old. When he was a boy, as he said now, take them please to the other room to play. You cannot prohibit boys, of playing, And this Imam Nawawi doesn't like to play. At least there's something else occupying his heart. So all of those matters, the spiritual matter, those who was good practitioner of them, and those who were gifts from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to him, make him as a great person as Imam al-Nawawi that we look at. Okay? The last point, I mentioned these 4 points. I'm not going to mention a lot of them, because for sure he has much more, and he's one of those people who try to hide himself. His name was Yahya ibn Sharaf al-Nawawi, but he used to be called Muhyiddin, and he said, I don't forgive anyone who calls me Muhyiddin. Out of his wara, he had something against this name to be given to him, and this is out of the wara. The last point I want to mention, which has significant relation to his life and how he went back to his village, is al-amr bil-ma'ruf and-nahy an-munkar. Or let's put it in a very simple way. All of you should advise each other. Okay? Give an advice. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. I was about to say I found because I keep seeing it, wherever I go, you have significant language, وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ. Do not give advice to each other. Everyone is free and wants to go by his own and doesn't want to listen to anyone. Here, Imam Nawawi was great in giving advice to these people. And his latest advice which was a significant test for him, when he got through the governor of Egypt and Syria, and this person, not an ordinary governor, he was the one who made the victory against the Mughal, in the time when the Mughal, they took away everything, such a military man, and in this high position, he is going emotionally to affect everyone and let everyone put himself down. He wants a fatwa to collect some money from the people, because either for his army or whatever, to have well preparation, for fight. And all the people in Damascus, they gave him the fatwa. Then he asked, and what is left? They said, yes, Imam Nawawi is left. He said, I want his fatwa. He brought Imam Nawawi. He said, I want to collect money from people, because we are really military people. He said, no. How come all of them, they put down their fatwa? He said, I heard You have 100 slave women. Each one, it has a lot of gold, in her hands, and in her neck. And you have this, and you have that. And he starts counting to him. Send all of these items, then I give you food. What do you get benefit from this? Firstly, the faqih. For sure in fiqh, when the imam in need, the governor in need, he may, they give him the permission to take from the others. But here, Imam al-Nawawi is not only faqih, he knows with whom he's speaking. That person still has a lot of money back in his palace, He said, spend all this money, then come to me, I'll make you the fatwa. And he got really angry. He said, I'm not going to live with you in same city. And he said, fair enough, I'm going to back to now. And who were shocked, the student of Imam al-Nawawi, because they get a lot of benefit from him, and they try to intercede, and then the governor said, okay, let him stay. He said, no, I'm not going to stay. I'm going to go back to my village. I'm not return back to Damascus till this person died. And he went to his village back, stayed for 3 months, and he died. I think I'm going to stop here. And perhaps I missed few portions, of his seerah or of his personality. But these are the main points that I wanted to speak about. If anyone has any question, we'll listen to the question. Sorry, I cannot fill the whole slot, for you. Any question, about Imam Nawawi or about what we have said? Yes.
I wasn't sure what you mentioned about
at the age of 7, as mentioned, he observed Laylatul Qadr. Like you hear some people, sometimes they tell you that they have lights, or whatever, it was done to him, when he was age 7.
He said at 19 he traveled to Damascus seeking knowledge. Where was his development at that point? How was he with and how was he with
For sure, I may not know the definite answer to it, but I think this is similar to our life. In his village, he will have some teacher, to teach him Qur'an, basic Qur'an, to teach him basic fiqh, and you name it. Then when he want to get more specialized about it, he traveled to Damascus. Yes?
One of the Imam Nawawi's students was Sheikh Al-Taymiyyah. What was did they have the same ideas? Did Imam Al-Taymiyyah learn some of the ideas that we got from Imam Nawawi, or did they depart from each other?
I'm sorry, I'm not quite sure. The reference that I went at, they did not mention Imam Al-Taymiyyah as one of his students. You may know better, I'm not quite sure about it. To me, there's significant difference, between them. For example, Imam Nawawi goes by the idea of Al-Izz ibn Abd al-Salam of dividing the bid'ah to 5 different items. And he mentioned in Mustami' Arifi many things which may be rejected, by Imam. Again, I may go back and look for you, but to the best of my knowledge, I'm not quite sure that Imam Ibn Taymiyyah was his student. Other questions? Yes? Go ahead. Sit down.
The brothers were asking the questions, you can repeat it because we are not hearing them over here.
Okay.
And my question to you, you commented something about Imam Nawawi, that at his time, he not only that he adopted the school of thoughts that were available, but he came up with his own ideas. Is my understanding right? And if it's right, then how can, in this time of, as we say, what can we do with what's happening with hadith interpretations, with this fight against Imam al-Bukhari? Are we stuck to certain school of thoughts? Are we at the age of reforming our thoughts? At the age of, examining what is in our books and seeing where we can go further?
Very good question. As I said, I think Imam Nawawi was regulated with all of the essentials. His choices, they were quite few. And I don't think he has a lot of these. That's why I said, when I gave example about the other, some of the other, they have much more choices in this Imam. And Imam Nawawi and Ibn Humam, you look at these two personalities as well stuck, to their essentials, their shuyukh, well-built. They may have few exceptions. To best of my knowledge nowadays, we have the problem with two types of persons nowadays. The one who is too rigid and too restricted, no flexibility at all, and the other one who is flexible in all matters. As the example that we gave, that Imam Bukhari is not good one, Sahih al-Bukhari is fake Sahih. And to be honest with you, they show me in the iPhone. If they did not show me, I will not believe it, okay? A sheikh with turban, he said, Bukhari, his name Jum'a al-Bukhari. There's no such person, in the Muslim history. He misread, Jama'ahu al-Imam al-Bukhari. He read Jum'ah as the name of Imam al-Bukhari. If I did not see it, I'll say it's a joke. But I did see it in my eyes. Let me put it more broader for you. The one who tried to speak with me said scientifically. Okay? You have some scholars, they criticize few ahadith in Imam Bukhari, Sahih, scientifically. Like Imam al-Daraqutni and the others. These persons, I may differ with them in opinion, but I should respect them a lot because they speak scientifically. I'm sorry to tell you, when I have such a person, Jum'ah and Saturday and Sunday, I'm not going to have any respect. And if it